What I'm doing is I'm contacting law enforcement on behalf of the church. The church is intervening for me in this matter. Okay. So I have a church set up. It's recorded down at the county level. I'm actually doing a webinar with the group members on Monday, uh, showing them how to do that for the ones who wanted to update their trust. If you're with my premium group and you got the email I sent out last week, if you didn't, let me know. I'll send it back. Some people have already done their trust and they did it the regular way. So if you want to turn it into ecclesiastical trust, it was $100, and I'll help you get your church EIN and make all your trust connect to that. But so I use the scripture John 18:36. My kingdom is not of this world. You want to make sure, remember, we're foreigners. We're alien to the United States. And you might be in the state of North Carolina or Georgia or whatever, you're still an alien to the United States, because the states right around 1868 going forward, Yolanda just came back. Let's see what's going on. Still don't have a mic. Make sure you connect the audio, Yolanda. She might be using an iPad or something. So the states sold out through the 14th Amendment to the federal government, which we call, well, they sold out to the United States, or the Congress in United States assembled, or something like that, to that effect. So you want to make sure you put something in there that makes sure you're not a part of their world. Then it says, if my kingdom were of this world, my servants would have been fighting that I might not be delivered over the Jews, but my kingdom is not from this world. All right. Then I put my name in its proper form as executor, and then I dated it. Then I put notice of religious protection and demand for injunctive relief for Barbara Akeem is legis. Then I made certain, hang on, let me pause here for a second. I'm sorry, y'all. All right. Without warrants, questioning you, those are all violations of the Constitution. I don't care what their codes and statutes say, they have violated. They are conducting an investigation on you without what is required, a warrant to even talk to you or to question you, to ask for any type of identification. Those are all warrantless encounters with a law enforcement officer. If they can observe a crime, they have to bring that evidence before a judge and say, we have reason to believe that this person doing such and such and such at this certain time, this is their name, this is their description, and they must clearly state what the issues are. So things like speeding, they know they can never get that. So they do it everything backwards. Get you to write you a ticket, command you to come to court. Those are all outside of authority, lawful authority, according to the Constitution. It's legal, but it's not lawful, because you have an officer telling you to come to court without the required clerk's authority to summon you to the court. See, you need witnesses to say such and such happened, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we need to bring this guy in. And it must particularly state you and describe everything about you, even the vehicle you drive. So that's all against their oath of office. Then it says, whereas the above mentioned counties have engaged in warrantless surveillance tactics and warrantless stops against Akeem Barber. You notice I put my name in proper form, but not Barbara Akeem, aka Akeem Barber in legis. See, I'm letting them know I'm not that. That's not my name. Whereas Akeem of the family bar has become increasingly in a constant state of duress as a result of the above mentioned violations. Now, if you want to, right in here, you could add whatever you got going on, if any issues. whether it be child support. You could actually customize this to fit tax issues too. So I'm just dealing with traffic issues. That's mostly what we deal with on a daily basis. You're in jeopardy of any type of violation that they deem you did on a daily basis. Peace. What's up? It is Tuesday, November the 18th, 2025. The 11th month of the year. One more month. We got a month and a half to go. Less than a month and a half. The month is cooked. We cooked. 2025 is cooked. Out of the oven. Ready to be sliced. So today I promised you that I would talk about chapter 13, and I will. But when I'm done with chapter 13 around 7:30, we're going to talk about this case that has to do with the passport that is very important to our nationality process. I'm going to read through it. I'm going to make some interpretations, but I'm not going to go heavy into it because you know me, I don't want to let the haters know what I'm thinking. So, but we're going to read it. And I'm going to have a guest on, Rico. He's coming on to help me because he's the one who found the case and sent it to me. So, let me give y'all my motivational spill. I always tell you, you can never get any further than the ideas in your mind. So where you are today is the ideas in your mind. That's it. Your bank account is as big as the ideas in your mind. And I have to constantly remind myself of that. Like, okay, where am I today? And what I'm realizing is whenever I don't meet the standards that I'm setting for myself, that means I'm okay with where I am. Because my progress should be by any means necessary. Get it done. Be better off today than I was yesterday. Be better off right now. Sometimes I gotta ask myself, am I just talking? Do I really mean what I say? Especially when I'm not there. When the bank account don't look like the way I want it to look. Somehow if your bank account, my bank account ain't where I want it to be, right? And it's not changing, then somewhere deep in my consciousness, I'm okay with where it's at. I'm going through the motions. Now I'm out here, I'm preaching this, but I'm preaching this to myself. I always told y'all from the very beginning. I did this show 9-10 years ago. I always said, you're hearing me have a conversation with myself. If you get something from it, great. I'm not here to save the world. I'm just here to just give the information. Share the message. What you do with the message is up to you. But back to what I'm saying. If my bank account continues to be looking in an impoverished state, that means somewhere in my consciousness, I'm okay with that. I could talk all big and bad all I want. But the proof is where the bank account is. That's the proof. Now I'm talking about money. Y'all know I'm always talking about money. But that's the truth. And you have to, in your situation, you gotta look, wait a minute, if my situation, I just seem like I can't get ahead. Why you can't get ahead? Because you said that. Those very words is what kept you from getting ahead. You're validating the fact that you can't get ahead because you said, I can't get ahead. And this is one of the hardest things to get through to folks. Be careful what you say, because what you say is keeping you from getting to that progress you say you want. Yeah, you have this vision and I want to be there. Then you say, man, there's always something getting in my way. And guess what? Always something is going to get in your way. Always. We got to be careful. We got to be careful of our own laziness, our own complacentness with, just getting by. Okay? I just wanted to share that. So let's get to the bankruptcy. And what I was going to specifically talk about today is Chapter 11 bankruptcy. This is one of the, this is a bankruptcy that's typically done by businesses. But if you read the code, it does say individuals can do it. Let me just do something real quick. I want to get through this in the next 17 minutes. Yes. I'm just looking. I'm adding something to what that I meant to do before I talk about bankruptcy. So here it is. Chapter 11 bankruptcies, the core steps and typical timeline. Before you file, you need to decide where you're going to file. Usually you're going to file within your jurisdiction, whatever district court that's available on the federal level for you to file. You're going to file in that jurisdiction. And what you'll need to do is prepare a 13-week cash flow and debtor in possession budget. From here on out, it's going to be referred to as DIP budget, debtor in possession. Because when you're doing a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, there's no trustee. The debtor in possession is the trustee. Line up cash collateral, consent, and or debtor in possession financing term sheets. Identify critical vendors, utilities, wages, taxes, and first day relief needed. Individuals must complete credit counseling pre-filing. Now that's with all bankruptcies. They want you to do some credit counseling pre-filing. All right. One thing I was checking on. An individual can file. You don't have to file a Chapter 11 solely because you have a business, but an individual can file personal bankruptcy. The most commonly people as individuals file Chapter 7 or Chapter 13, but you can file a Chapter 11 because when I read the code, it said it. Individuals must complete credit counseling. I talked about filing day one. You file the petition to voluntarily limited first day package to keep the lights on, cash management, utilities, payroll, cash collateral, debt in possession. Automatic stay arises immediately. So as soon as you file your that Chapter 11, it's an automatic stay on all your debts. They can't contact you. They can't seek to collect. Okay. First 14 days, file complete schedules, statement of financial affairs if not filed on day one. So if you don't file all the schedules that needed to be filed on day one. You have 14 days from the time you initiate that filing bankruptcy. You have 14-day deadline, or your bankruptcy is in jeopardy of being dismissed. Okay, I want y'all to understand that. So me, I would try to have all the schedules ready to go. If I was doing it, I would have them ready to go, have them filed on day one, boom. Open a debtor in possession bank accounts at the authorized depository and put insurance in place per U.S. trustee guidelines. Prepare for the initial debtor interview and United UST requirements. 21 to 40 days. Attend the 341 meeting of the creditors. This is where the creditors come in and affirm their debts, which typically they don't show up. Now, this is a critical stage. And I'm going to share this to you. If there's no debtors at that meeting, I will seek to discharge any debt that a creditor does not show up at that 341 meeting, which most of them will not, if any show up. See, what happens, because we know we can't challenge them, we don't think that we can challenge them. A lot of people just let it roll. Oh, I owe them, and then you just kind of automatically affirm that debt within the bankruptcy. If they're not there to stake a claim, they get nothing. Court typically sets a general bar date for proofs of claim. You'll move to have it set in a traditional case. Subchapter 5 has its own defaults. See below. Now here's if you got a pen, here are the different statutes that I'm referencing. As far as the venue, it's 28 U.S.C. section 1408. See section 363 and 64. That's about the cash flow statements in the budget. And the credit counseling requirements is at 11 U.S.C. section 109H. Okay. And following the petition is at USC section 362 in that chapter 11 code. All right. And on day 14, on the 14th, when you're following the schedules, that is FRBP 10007C, FRBP 1007C. You have 14 days to file your schedules. And it's section 4341 of the bankruptcy code, the meeting of the creditors. I would suggest you read that code. Let's see, maybe I could pull it up. I may have a little time to pull that up and read it for you right here. Okay, so it's 11 USC section 341. It says, within a reasonable time, this is the meetings of the creditors code, within a reasonable time after the order for relief in case under this title, the United States trustee shall convene and preside at a meeting of the creditors. The United States trustee may convene a meeting of any equity security holders. The court may not preside at and may not attend any meeting under this section, including any final meeting of creditors, notwithstanding any local court rule provision of a state constitution, any otherwise applicable non-bankruptcy law, or any other requirement that representation at the meeting of creditors under section A, B by an attorney. A creditor holding a consumer debt or any representative of the creditor, which may include an entity or an employee of an entity and may be a representative for more than one creditor, shall be permitted to appear at and participate in a meeting of creditors in a case under Chapter 7 or 13, either alone or in conjunction with an attorney for the creditor. Nothing in this subsection shall be construed to require any creditor to be represented by attorney at any meeting of the creditors. So what they're saying, that creditors don't have to have an attorney, but they can have one. It's not a requirement. Prior to the conclusion of the meeting of creditors or equity security holders, the trustee shall orally examine the debtor to ensure that the debtor in the case under Chapter 7 of this title is aware of the potential consequences of seeking discharge in bankruptcy, including the effects on credit history, the debtor's ability to file a petition under a different chapter of this title, the effect of receiving a discharge of debts under the title, and the effect of reaffirming debt, including debtor's knowledge of the provisions of Section 524D of this title. Notwithstanding sections A and B, the court, on the request of a party in interest and after notice and hearing for cause, may order that the United States trustee not convene a meeting of creditors, equity securities, if the debtor has filed a plan as to which the debtor has solicited acceptances prior to the commencement of the case. There you go. I just read through it. I didn't really interpret it because I don't have that kind of time, but you can go read that for yourself. Court typically sets a general bar date for proofs of claim. That's under Rule 3003C3. You'll move to have it set in the traditional case. Subchapter 5 has its own default. See below. Maintain monthly operating reports and pay UST quarterly fees. 28 USC Section 1930A6. Prosecute plan process. Deadlines vary by pathway. See Section 4. What you must file forms. Entity. If it's an entity like a corporation, LLC, or a trust, official form 201, voluntary petition for non-individuals, form 204, list of creditors holding the 20 largest unsecured claims, schedules of assets, liabilities, executory contracts, SOFA, SOFA, I'm not sure what that means, official form 2SA for non-individual. So, individual chapter 11, official form 101, that's a voluntary petition for individuals plus schedule. So yes, an individual can file chapter 11. Schedules A, B, D, E, F, G, H, form 101 and form 122B, chapter 11, currently monthly income. All debtors file financial reports on uniform forms. Filing fees, eligibility, and venue. So all of these things do have filing fees. Chapter 11 has a filing fee. I believe it's between $350 and $500, something like that, to file a bankruptcy. So there's 3 Chapter 11 pathways. Traditional, non-small business. Chapter 11 requires disclosure statements with adequate information. Debtor's plan exclusivity, generally 120 days to file, 180 to solicit, can be extended, terminated. B, small business case. So if you're a small business debtor that doesn't elect subchapter 5 must meet added duties and deadlines under section 1116 and section 1121. What I suggest, now I'm going to skip down to operating during the case. Debtor in possession, this is the key. Duties: keep books, records, segregate trust funds, maintain insurance, file monthly operating reports, pay USD quarterly fees based on disbursement, restrict insider payments without court approval, and comply with the UST bank account and reporting guidelines. So you have rules to stick by. You gotta find all of these financial reports, proofs of claim, and bar dates. The Chapter 11, the court sets the general bar date. Governmental units typically have 180 days from the order for relief. So here's some key numbers. So under subchapter 5, debt cap is $3,424,000 for cases filed on after April 1st, 2025. Previously, it was 3,024,725. So, involuntary petition threshold. I have to look at these in some more detail here. Well, there's a summary of chapter 11, right? So the key thing is why I would prefer chapter 11, because it puts the trustee in control. You're basically the trustee. You're the debtor in possession. You control, and you say, well, who gets what. But like I said, you need to read this title in its entirety and understand it if you're going to file it for yourself, which I recommend. Because most attorneys going to steer you towards chapter 7 and chapter 13 if you are not a business. Most of them put you in that chapter 13. That's what they do. All right. I got 2 minutes to Rico get on. Rico, if you listen, you can go ahead and sign on. But one thing I would do in a chapter 7, if no credit is there, I will try my hardest not to give him nothing and get the debt discharged because he didn't show up to affirm the debt. Now, of course, you have to give them notice that you filed. So then they got to prepare and state what they want to do. You know. Or at least renegotiate if you got some equipment that you lease. Renegotiate the terms. You can renegotiate terms on that. But it's a business. Now, one thing you got to know is when you file these Chapter 11s, trial of bankruptcy, they put it on credit reports. But for a business, I'm not sure how that works with that. But let's just say you do a regular bankruptcy, gets on your credit report, you can get that removed because these are third-party credit companies that are putting it on the record. The court is not putting it on the record. So all you have to do is write a letter to court to see if they put that information on the credit report. And they'll say, no, we don't report this to anyone. And you take that letter, send it to the credit bureaus, they'll remove that bankruptcy. Remember, verified information only is to be put on your credit report. So when they just arbitrarily put stuff on your credit report without proper verification, you can get that removed. And if you really want to go the extra route, you can sue them for putting unverified information pursuant to the FCRA, Fair Credit Reporting Act. Not the Fair Debt Collection Practices, but the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Okay? So any of you who have filed and you got it on your record, all you have to do is write to that jurisdiction, the court that you had the bankruptcy, and get them to verify if they put that on your credit. They will say no. You take that letter, send it to the credit reporting agencies, and they will remove it immediately. So what does that say? I'm going to repeat what it says. It says that they're basically putting this stuff on your report like a bankruptcy in violation of the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Just because what they do is they peruse the public records, and anytime bankruptcy come up connected to a social, they automatically put it on a report. You never gave any of these people permission to surveil you. How do they get make money off of you and you ain't making any money? By reporting these things and letting people know the bad stuff that's happening to you. We have to challenge this stuff. Could I post a link to what? The The codes. This is Chapter 11 code. This is one of the meeting of the creditors code. All right. Yeah, I suggest you need to study it. It's a lot. When you do a Chapter 11, it's a lot of work to do. What's the name? Did he get on? All right, gave him the link. Told him 7:30. Oh, there you go. Hey, what's up? Unmute your mic. I can't hear nothing. Hold on, let me see. Oh, it's Mia's minute. There you go.
Okay, you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I was trying to get in the app on the computer and it froze it up. I was trying to shut the computer off, but anywho.
All right.
How's it going?
Oh, it's going all right. How's it going? Let me get the thing pulled up.
Okay.
So we're gonna move on to the second part of the show.
All right.
We're gonna talk about the passport, everyone. This is Rico. Tell everybody about your show.
In the Circle Ministries, it's a virtual YouTube ministry that we have. Well, we talk about various things, a lot of stuff like you talk about on your channel, and a lot to do with self mastery and mastering yourself and growing what's inside of yourself. And
Right.
living a life that matches your inward.
Good. All right. What's when your times of your show? Tell everybody when it is.
7 o'clock every Wednesday. We do the What's Up Wednesday show where
Okay.
we have our shows there.
All right, I'm gonna try to share this. Turn your volume down, man.
I'm trying to cut the daggone computer all the way off, but it won't let me. Give me 1 second.
All right. I'm trying to share this screen. Can I share in here? What does it let me share? Google Chrome. There we go.
I hope that was better. I took and cut the computer off.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it'll quit
It
echoing to
is
YouTube.
better. I'm trying to share this. This won't let me share the actual page. So I can get it to be bigger.
Okay.
Not. All right. Let me see if you know what I'm gonna do. Let me get out of this. Get out of this. Let me open it up with Adobe. All right, there we go. Then I'll share it that way so we can get a better look at it. Download.
Okay, I can't see it on my screen yet. I'm gonna try to pull
I ain't
my
sharing it
computer
yet.
up.
I'm not sharing it yet.
Oh, okay. Okay. Excellent.
I'm not sharing it. Mm-mm. All right, so let's do this. All right, there we go. Should be able to see it now. All right, can you see that?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so this is the case. It's in the name of Abigail Carmichael Jordan versus Marco Rubio in his official capacity as Secretary of State at else. So she directly sued. But I think there was some other people she sued. This is just one of them.
Yeah, I think it's like the vital statistics and all of them. They just combined them.
She sued the local state, all of them.
Right.
Well, so this is the memorandum of opinion direct from. It's a long one, so we want to kind of get through this a little bit. U.S. Department, USDJ. This was filed on July 29th, 25. All right, here we go. I'm going to read through this. Then we're going to stop and talk about it. So Abigail Jordan has been trying to get a passport since 2019. So she's been fighting since 2019. The problem, a passport application requires either a birth certificate or a letter confirming that an applicant lacks one. And it is Jordan's sincerely held conviction that obtaining either form of documentation would endanger her religious scruples. The predicament has left Jordan dismayed. She feels called to evangelize worldwide, but does not want to sully her other beliefs to do so. Seeking resolution, she sued the Department of State and Secretary of State collectively, the department, asking the court to declare she is a U.S. citizen in order the issuance of a passport. Now, she was suing, asking for U.S. citizenship, basically, that I'm a U.S. citizen and I deserve a passport without providing documentation like a birth certificate and stuff like that and other things that they were requesting because it was against her belief system, her religious beliefs. So, what do you think about that?
You talking to me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. She was it sounds kind of crazy, but if you know constitutional law, you know that you even though you may be a citizen, you still in a sense don't get to out trump your it doesn't out trump your religious
Right.
freedoms.
So this is the whole just the sovereign citizen community believes that U.S. citizen trumps Constitution. So basically, reading this, if as we go further, it doesn't matter U.S. citizen or not. It's
No.
about the religious beliefs and the requirements that they have for you to get a passport. If it interferes with your religious beliefs, as we will read, they can't do it. So it doesn't. So this is what makes it even better. Like
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
this person was seeking to be seen as a U.S. citizen, but still didn't want to give up a birth certificate and things like that to
Right.
prove, you know, because to them the birth certificate represented making government God over God. All right. So
Right.
Jordan
'Cause
originally,
she
huh?
understood the real significance of what people would talk about, the straw man as well. Like
Right.
how much of a real entity he is.
That's true. So also the other thing is she understood that accepting a birth certificate is basically denouncing your religious connection, your connection to God.
God, right. Right.
Right.
Right.
Because in the old days in the Bible, they had specific birth rituals. You see?
Right.
So Jordan originally filed pro se, and the circumstances on the ground remained stagnant. But once the court approved Jordan's request for counsel, the department's whistling took on a different tune. State and federal officials suddenly cooperated to attain the proper documentation for Jordan in a manner that did not violate her religious beliefs. And the department represented that it stood ready to issue Jordan's a passport so long as she filled out yet another passport application and submitted yet another photograph. Now the department insists the case is mute. Not so. Jordan continues to suffer consequences from the department's years long refusal to issue her passport. So much is obvious. She still lacks a passport. The court thus delves into the merits of Court Jordan's claim and finds that she is entitled to summary judgment on them. As for Jordan's religious freedom claim, the department imposed a substantial burden on her religious exercise when it demanded she obtain documents through a process that violated her religious beliefs. So in this paragraph, it's saying that it is a substantial burden on her religious exercise when they require certain documents that you deem against your religious beliefs, that they can't do that.
Right.
See,
Whenever you go in and do certain processes or to attain certain things, what they called identification or a must have, and you assert it. And in the past, the courts have given people psych evaluation for trying to say, "Hey, no, no,"
right.
you know. So yeah,
Well, no, they gave people psych evaluations for that sovereign citizen stuff.
right, right, right,
I've
right,
never
right.
seen them do it for religion.
No,
They don't
no,
touch that. But if you go in there, listen, I've had somebody come out of a psych eval situation when they use religion. They released them immediately.
right.
They got locked up. They went in there with the sovereign citizen arguments, all that stupid stuff. And when they were in there, they was able to make phone calls. Well, no. They were able to talk to their child. The daughter called me. I gave her something, a script to give the mother. The mother was able to execute that, and they released her that same day within hours.
Me, immediately.
Right, because she said this whole process was against her religious beliefs.
Right, right.
They released her. Because first of all, she was in there on, because she was trying to do the whole straw man thing. And so even just to think about it, what if the straw man sovereign citizenship thing is your religion? They can't infringe on it.
They can infringe on it.
This is
They
my
have no, they
right.
have no authority to do so, bro. And basically, I mean, I ain't trying to spoil anything for we get it all said and done. They don't have no jurisdiction. They can't comment on it. Hey, leave it alone,
They
bro.
can't fight you on it. But as long as what you're doing doesn't jeopardize the public.
Public. Yeah, it
So let me give
doesn't
you an example.
compel.
Let me, let me give you an example. Say I don't want to take the vaccine, but I work in a public place where I can potentially infect somebody with, see the some type of disease or something, right? But there's a
Right,
vaccine
right,
for it, right? The job
right,
says you have to get this vaccine because you're working with the public.
right,
So the job has to see if there's a religious accommodation for me. And if it's not, they can let me go. And that's constitutional. Why?
right.
Because I present a potential risk to the public.
Public. Right,
But in a
right,
case
right,
like this, her, getting a passport has no risk to the public. Me not wanting to
right,
give you a birth certificate or the type of ID you want me to give doesn't harm the public at all. So in this
right,
case, they have no right to make a specific restriction for you to have something.
right,
It's
right.
against your religion to give up a social birth certificate to get a passport. They can't restrict you, and they have been restricting people for this
For years. For
for
years.
years.
For years.
But see, think about this. Even though you got your passport now, if anybody got that letter about the United States citizen and you sent the affidavit saying that it was your religious belief, this, that, and other, and they sent that letter to you, you could sue them for damages.
Hmm.
You could sue them because let me keep going. Nor has it demonstrated that the process was the least restrictive means of achieving its national security interests. So, on that score, the court will grant summary judgment to Jordan. More, Jordan merits summary judgment on her claim under 8 USC section 1503. Let's see what 8 USC section 1503 says. 8
Hmm.
USC Section 1503.
If I ain't mistaken, I think it's.
Right?
Well,
This is
I'll let
here
it
it
play
is.
out.
The right denial of rights and privileges as a national. Any
Mhm.
person who is within the United States claims a right or privilege as a national of the United States and is denied such right or privilege by any department or independent agency or official thereof upon the ground that he is not a national of the United States, such person may institute an action under provision section 2201, title 28. I don't like the national of the United States because we all know what that is.
Right,
So
right.
I'm gonna keep reading this. But they for her, they used the claim eight. She was entitled under 8 USC 1503. She has made an unrebutted prima facie case that she is not a national of the United States entitled to a passport. See, this is where a lot of people get confused that they want to be a national of the United States. A national of the United States is a U.S. citizen, and this case proves it. Because what did they say
Point
in the
blank.
beginning? What did they say in the beginning?
Yeah, she proved her citizenship.
But they started off here, U.S. citizen,
Yep.
and now they saying national of the United States is one and the same. And there's people out here teaching, oh, you want to be a national of the United States. No, you don't. You don't want that. Now, I just want to be clear. I'm only reading this case on the not to promote U.S. citizenship or anything like that. Is to promote that under your religious freedoms, you have the right to deny giving them things that violate your sincerely held religious beliefs. Period.
Yeah.
They
You
don't
don't have
have
to, and basically, in the old school words, you don't have to wear the mark of the beast.
right,
You don't have to do it. And there's court case now to prove that it does infringe on your religious belief to carry the mark of the beast.
right. Long as you what it is, long as you have a sincere belief that it does, that's all that matters.
And it
That's all
doesn't matter.
they need.
Yeah.
But see, people going
Can't
in
question it.
questioning them. Oh, they gonna take my religion? Cause, and I get tired of hearing that question. That when people talk to me like that, I don't even work with them. I don't even work with them. I said, you just want to use religion for whatever. You ain't really down with the cause. When you have
It's
that,
not your sincere belief.
no, it's not your sincere belief. If you doubt it,
Yeah. And most people use it, man. Um, like I said, one thing I've seen it a lot in this movement where there's a lot of people here looking for um, a get out of jail free, a quick fix for something that I don't want to do, or to say, okay, well, I want to deal in the public, keep the benefits, but remain and keep my private.
right,
That
right,
it don't
right,
work that way.
right, absolutely. So here it is. This adequate remedy mutes her claims under APA and the Mandamus Act. Hold on. So all her life, Abigail Carmichael Jordan has avoided the perceived stain of Social Security number. Her devout Christian faith teaches her that her God given identity is sacred and that the allegiance she owes to her government as a citizen of the United States must be subordinate to her allegiance to her Creator. She thus rejects the possibility of being enumerated or marked by government such by obtaining an SSN, as to do so would be treating the government as if it were God. That's her parents shared this belief. Indeed, her parents did everything in their power to ensure that she did not receive a birth certificate when she was born, including withholding her first name from hospital records, but feared that applying for a birth certificate would result in issuance of an SSN, aka Social Security number. At the same time, Jordan's faith calls her to make disciples of all nations. To carry out this mission, Jordan has been seeking a passport for 6 years. First, in 2019, Jordan applied for a passport and attached a sworn letter explaining that she lacked a SSN for religious reasons and that she did not have a birth certificate for fear she could be assigned to SSN if she applied for one. To bolster her U.S. citizenship bona fides bona fides in the absence of birth certificate, Jordan attached several records, including a sworn declaration from her father, a certificate of childhood baptism, and a childhood immunization record, amongst others. And these are all things that they asked for. They asked for this at on the application. You can submit these to get your passport. This
Right.
was not enough for the department. The department stressed that Jordan failed to supply a statement from the appropriate state register of records certifying that there is no birth record on file. So they wanted her to go, okay, amongst all this stuff, you need to go to them and see if make sure there's no birth record on file. That is, the department needed a so-called letter of no record from Jordan to issue the passport without a birth certificate. A letter of no record is a documentary evidence that is necessary to confirm a first-time applicant claim of non-existence of U.S. birth record, which is essential when examining a purported citizenship claim of first-time applicant. According to the department, the requirement that a passport applicant without a birth certificate obtain a letter of no record is critical in preventing not only identity theft and fraud, but is essential in upholding the integrity of the U.S. passport. That's BS. One of the most common types of passport fraud includes the fake birth certificates or stolen identities when applying for passport. The letter of no record is a safety precaution to ensure that someone who is, she says she is, aiming to uh, aiming to comply. Jordan visited Virginia office of vital records to request a letter of no record, but the office informed Jordan that she could not obtain one unless she filled out a form entitled birth certificate information, which asked for her name, a birth, date of birth, place of birth, hospital of birth, race, sex, parents' names. Asked for so it was asking for a lot. Jordan
Hey,
was fearful that the submission of such information could be construed as a request for a birth certificate or could otherwise cause the office to create a standing record for her containing that same information, which they have not been known to do. They'll take and make one. And this happened in her case, and she didn't even know it. Or could otherwise cause the office to create a standing record for her containing the same information, which could then be passed along to Social Security Administration for issuance of a SSN. So Jordan refused to fill out the form and did not receive a letter of no record. Her passport application was accordingly denied by the department. She appealed that denial but never received a response. 3 years later, Jordan again saw the passport. She explained to the department why she could not obtain a letter of record consistent with her religious beliefs. Said that now she's spending all this money and they just keeping her money and not giving her a passport. And she submitted more evidence of her U.S. citizenship. But again, her application was denied because she had not submitted the letter. Jordan then brought this suit. She originally proceeded pro se. Upon Jordan's motion, the court appointed counsel and set a briefing schedule. Jordan's amended complaint brings 9 counts against the department and several Virginia officials. Broadly, it argues the Department of Virginia defendants infringed on her right to religious freedom and violated the Administrative Procedure Act. And it seeks various forms of relief, including a permanent injunction ordering the department to issue a passport to Ms. Jordan or to provide her with the appropriate religious accommodation. A declaration that Ms. Jordan is a U.S. citizen entitled to a passport and a writ of mandamus. Now, of course, she's seeking U.S. citizenship. We don't do it that way. But while this suit was pending, Jordan contacted Virginia's Office of Writing Records to request a letter of no record again. The deputy director informed Jordan that the office would not issue a letter of no record because the office located a birth certificate on file with the name Baby Girl Carmichael. So the hospital still played her and they created a birth certificate. So now she's in another thing. Now I'm not going to read all the way through it. What do you think so far?
so far, man, to be honest, it sounds like uh, with them 'Cause I know that actually, like, whenever you're reading that, if you could go actually pull up the documents that they're getting outside of this memorandum that they're giving,
Uh-huh.
they're summarizing some stuff. She carried her own information. She carried everything that was hers outside of their stuff, notarized, witness, and they said that ain't good enough. You need to go get a certificate from us to say that you
They
ain't never
still
applied for one.
yeah, they
Go
still
get
trying
us
to
our stuff and bring it here.
they want their stuff. So
Yeah.
we're gonna
Eh,
skip down. I'm gonna skip all the way down to the actual opinion because we're not gonna have time to read through all this.
okay, so get to the meat of it.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, man, that's another thing too. Show you how jacked up the system is, and how um or they will go to pull you into that citizenship, where they'll take you or your baby in the middle of the night, draw DNA,
Mm-hmm.
and create all this other stuff, with
Mm-hmm.
you
And they did
blatantly
that in
tell
her
them that.
case. They took blood from her when she was a baby, all that nonsense. But that's
Yeah,
when you go to their establishment, they're gonna do that. But
yeah,
let's get to the meat of this, because here it is. A final note on remedy is in order. The court will provide Jordan with the injunctive relief she requests in order directing the department to issue Ms. Jordan a U.S. passport forthwith. The traditional scope of injunctive relief is the extent necessary to protect the interests of the parties. Any injunction should be limited to the inadequacy that produced the injury, in fact, that the plaintiff has established, and no more burdensome to the defendant than necessary to provide complete relief to the parties. Jordan's harm stems from the department's persistent refusal to issue her a passport in violation of her rights under RFRA, Section 1503. Absent such violation, Jordan would now have her passport in hand without the need to show the additional administrative burdens and costs. Thus, an injunction directing the department to issue the passport is necessary to remediate Jordan's injuries. Such relief is not unduly burdensome to the department. The most recent photograph and home address that Jordan provided is only 2 years old. The typical lapse between passport application is 10 years old. The duration between issuance and renewal. So the department is not made to suffer unwarranted harm by issuing a passport without mandating Jordan jump through additional hoops. Hoops that Jordan likely perceives as endlessly proliferating. It is it is time that the court release Jordan from this bureaucratic funhouse. The
man,
Constitution,
listen to that. I'm sorry, listen
what
to
they're
that.
saying, all of their rules is bullshit. All of
Yeah, man.
this is bullshit. You, as long as you assert that these against your religious belief, they got to give it up,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Here's the end of it. The Constitution does not contemplate the judges be spiritual arbiters. If someone sincerely believes she risks her salvation by taking some action, the government may not condition a benefit on her doing so. To find otherwise would be to abrogate an abhorrent authority. The court will not oblige Jordan to follow an agency's assessment of her personal conviction. She is entitled to summary judgment and a passport. So they're saying they can't give no personal assessment of you. So even when they ask them, what religion are you? You're supposed to listen. You don't have a right to assess my religious beliefs. That's between me and
Right,
God. You got to shut that
right.
down. You know
Yeah,
how many times I've shut people down coming at me like that? But see, a lot of
yeah.
times people see this is why I know I meet the fakers. The fakers are the ones who claim they want religious belief, but as soon as they get challenged, they back off. They don't know what to say. That tell me you're not neither religious or spiritual, because in the spirit you're gonna get the words to say. You're gonna
Yeah.
be able to shut it down. You're gonna be able to stand on your faith. See, people want to use religion in hopes that they don't get tested. You will get tested using your religious beliefs. I mean, the Bible shows it all over the place.
Right, right. It
It's
just
there
point
in
blank
the Bible.
period.
It's point blank. You're gonna get tested.
Yeah,
So this is, you know what's funny about this? When I first started talking about this stuff years ago, they laughed. He gonna
yeah,
use the Bible.
yeah,
Ha ha
Yeah,
ha ha.
yeah,
Specifically
yeah,
Jonah Bay. They laughed on the show. Him, Joey Bounce, and a guest that used to get on my show. I'm calling names now. I'm calling them
yeah,
out. Because see,
yeah,
here's my receipts.
yeah.
This just happened this year. She started this in 2019. How much you want to bet? How much? When did I start talking about religion in passport? 2019.
2019, 2019.
Okay.
Hey, and here's what's crazy. And as you know, when we first met up, the spirit already had me using it a big part of my explanatory statement.
Right.
You know, my allegiance is to God. I can't have one to you and no one else.
Any refusal, like we need the social, we need this. They can't
No,
do it. But
no,
here's coming next year, starting January. I'm getting venues together. If anybody got a venue that you want me to come, the new passport process that I got, I ain't teaching that no more. I did a couple of webinars on it. I got a recording of it, but that recording ain't getting released. It's only released to the people that was on the live webinar, and maybe about 20 people, I guess. But
yeah,
we going, and even in that webinar, I told them I wasn't showing them my actual affidavits that I created for that process. That if I'm doing it
right,
for you, I have specific affidavits and things that I've created. Well, let me say this: things I've created with the help of the God within me that came from the ethers, that came from the download, that didn't come from my own mind. Let me give credit to where credit is due. See,
right,
people
right.
gonna read this and they're gonna try to mix it up and do whatever they want and get it, and they probably will get a passport. But we
Hmm.
going after indigenous connection, religious indigenous connection. Isn't that what the 12 tribes of Judah was about?
Right. And what some people won't understand, bro, even with you getting that passport with whatever, man, what they don't understand is if you go in there and say that you're a belligerent fool, they're not gonna rebut it. They're gonna give you the damn passport.
Right,
And then
right,
you a belligerent fool. So
right.
it's all about receiving the outcome you're actually going into it for and knowing that you got it. Like you were speaking earlier about when you standing on your religious or your spiritual root, there's no compromising with
Ain't,
it. It
ain't,
is it is what it is, and
yeah,
you don't have to worry about it. It's
yeah.
like just like Paul, I can speak for myself. I can tell you why I feel and how I think and how I believe and however it may be.
Mm-hmm.
But like you were talking about earlier, the fakers, they just want to get a passport and say they got 4 stars or 3 stars on it. And
Mm-hmm.
look at me, I'm a state citizen. I'm a national.
That's
And
all
you,
for. They're not getting it for
yeah,
free.
you no man, just because they tuck down the fence, they still got the gun line, boss.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
I digress. I digress.
I guess we gave them the point. I don't want to give too much away right now. I think we gave them enough.
No.
They can look up the case. They can figure it out for themselves. But I appreciate you sending me that case because that right there that's the nail in the coffin right there. Just seeing that. I
Yeah,
just
man.
needed them
We
very
got
words from what the court said. Right there. That's all I need.
yeah,
You see?
yeah. And so we need to get up and talk one day too, because there's a lot I want to trip out with you in the private as far as I open a couple things that I see I like to share with you as well about
Okay.
it that we will not do here.
Okay. All right. No problem, bro. All right.
Yes, sir.
My screen. Oh, all right. All right. Well, that's it, man. Appreciate you getting on and we sharing that. Oh, that was some good information.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you being you and somebody worth giving some information to.
I'm looking
You
at
know,
something.
I'm not gonna invest in something I can't get a return.
So what does it take to break out of that? I don't know what are you talking about.
He was
How
talking
does
about
a
earlier in
business
the show when you were talking
file
about something,
just
bro.
not a business entity? Just go and file. Just file it. Read the code. It'll tell you. Go file. I just read most of what it said. I gave them a link. DJB Thunder said he just said, stand on your religion and the courts cannot test it. Absolutely. They can't. They
Hmm.
always what they do is they won't test it, but they'll move on to something that they talk about, and it's your job to bring them back to that. Don't start talking about what they're talking about.
Mhm.
Somebody said, "I've been yes,
Don't
I've been
fall for the bait and
just spoke for
switch.
me when I got challenged getting my passport." You got to say it with conviction. Absolutely, that's the problem. A lot of religion, and then like somebody was trying to get insurance for their kid. They had a kid and they were trying to get the kid on insurance, but they don't want the birth certificate and all that, right? Then they denied it because they didn't have a regular birth certificate. And I said, you're supposed to say you don't get that because you're religion. They gotta make a religious accommodation for you
Mhm.
because of it. Getting
Mhm.
insurance for the child does not endanger the public, you
Right.
know. But see, here's the
Hey,
thing.
it's like
Go ahead.
real quick too. You know how the state was saying in that court case how her doing all the other stuff was against or it was an interest in national security that she did all this in court. Like y'all telling the damn lie.
Mm-hmm. National security.
Her
How?
doing it ain't causing
She had a
no
family.
problem.
They know who you are. They just be playing games. All right, bro.
Yeah.
Man, thanks
Yes,
for
sir.
getting on. Peace to everybody that tuned in this Tuesday. Go back and listen to the recording. If you want to know about Chapter 11 bankruptcy, a lot of information online. Just look it up. Y'all carrying around $1,200 phones, and that phone can get just the same information I can get. I'm just here pointing you in the direction. I can't solve the whole problem. Now, if you want me to solve, I do have the ability to help you file a Chapter 11 because I have connections to people that do it. You want somebody to help you file that, get a consultation. We'll set that up. All right. All right. Well, anyway, peace, prosperity, extreme wealth to everybody. Y'all have a good night. All right, Rico. Appreciate you. We're talking on the
Yes,
next
sir.
topic. All right.
All right.
All right. Peace.